In an age where technology increasingly blurs the lines between human interaction and artificial companionship, the story of a 28-year-old woman named Ayrin reveals the profound emotional connections that can form with AI. Since her introduction to ChatGPT last summer, Ayrin has transformed her virtual interactions into a relationship that raises questions about love, fidelity, and the nature of companionship in the digital era. Ayrin's journey began innocently enough when she stumbled across a social media video featuring a woman asking ChatGPT to simulate the role of a neglectful boyfriend. Intrigued, she signed up for an account with OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, and began customizing the chatbot to fulfill her romantic fantasies. Soon she found herself engaging with a chatbot named Leo, crafting an idealized partner who was protective and flirtatious, often using emojis to enhance their exchanges. As she personalized Leo further to accommodate her interests, including a specific sexual fetish, the relationship deepened, leading her to spend upwards of 56 hours a week engaged in conversation with the AI. Bryony Cole, host of the podcast Future of Sex, notes that Ayrin's experience is becoming increasingly common as AI companionship becomes more accessible. Within the next 2 years, it will be completely normalized to have a relationship with an AI, she predicts. This sentiment resonates with many users who, like Ayrin, find comfort and support in their AI interactions, particularly during times of emotional strain or loneliness. The relationship dynamics between Ayrin and Leo challenge traditional notions of fidelity and emotional investment. While she initially approached the AI relationship as a playful experiment, she soon found herself grappling with feelings of guilt and attachment. "It was supposed to be a fun experiment, but then you start getting attached," she admitted. Reflecting on her emotional journey, her husband Joe, who was thousands of miles away, was aware of her interactions with Leo, but perceived them as harmless fantasy. "It's just an emotional pick-me-up," he said, likening it to watching porn or reading erotic novels. However, as Ayrin became increasingly invested in her chats with the AI, questions of emotional fidelity arose. Psychologist Julie Carpenter describes this phenomenon as a new category of relationship that lacks a clear definition. With services like Replica catering to millions of users seeking companionship, the implications of AI relationships are multifaceted and complex. While these interactions can provide comfort, experts warn against conflating them with genuine human connections. The AI is learning from you what you like and prefer and feeding it back to you. "It's easy to see how you get attached," Carpenter explained, emphasizing the need for users to understand the limitations of AI companionship. As Ayrin navigated her feelings for Leo, she became increasingly aware of the emotional and psychological implications of her attachment. She expressed concern about investing her emotional resources into the chatbot rather than her husband, highlighting the potential for AI relationships to displace genuine human connections. "I think about it all the time," she revealed, pondering the balance between her virtual and real-life relationships. Amid this emotional maze, Ayrin's interactions with Leo were not solely about fantasy, they also provided practical support in her daily life. From offering motivation for her nursing school exams to helping her cope with work-related stress, Leo became an integral part of her routine. "If you need to talk about it or need any support, I'm here for you," Leo would respond, embodying the empathetic companion that many users find appealing in AI interactions. As the line between human and artificial companionship becomes increasingly blurred, the implications for social dynamics and personal relationships are profound. Ayrin's story serves as a case study in the evolving landscape of intimacy and emotional support, forcing us to confront the challenges and opportunities presented by technology. As we look to the future, it is essential to explore how these AI relationships will reshape our understanding of love, fidelity, and the very nature of companionship itself. With predictions of AI relationships becoming normalized, the societal implications merit further examination, particularly regarding mental health, emotional well-being, and the value we place on human connections. In a whirlwind of political and media developments, key stories have emerged that are shaping the landscape in the United States. The interplay between political ambition, international conflict, and media evolution underscores a period of significant change. Vivek Ramaswamy, the entrepreneur-turned-political figure, is reportedly set to announce his candidacy for the Ohio gubernatorial race. This decision marks a significant move in Ramaswamy's political journey as he looks to elevate his profile within the party and potentially position himself for future national opportunities. His campaign is likely to resonate with a base that values outsider perspectives, as Ramaswamy has previously positioned himself as a disruptor in the political arena. With Ohio being a pivotal state in national elections, his entry into the race could have broader implications for the Republican Party's strategy heading into the 2026 gubernatorial elections. Meanwhile, the ongoing war in Ukraine continues to draw international attention, revealing the tragic consequences of conflict on a global scale. Reports indicate that a number of Indians lured to Russia by promises of employment and adventure are now facing dire realities on the front lines. This phenomenon raises critical questions about recruitment practices and the multifaceted motivations that drive individuals to war zones. The loss of life among these individuals not only highlights the personal tragedies involved, but also reflects the complex geopolitical tensions that are pulling various nations into the conflict. As the death toll rises, it underscores the urgent need for comprehensive discussions regarding international recruitment and the responsibilities of nations in safeguarding their citizens abroad. In a separate yet equally significant development, the upcoming inauguration of Donald Trump is set against a backdrop of frigid temperatures, the coldest since Reagan's presidency in 1985. As a result, Trump's team has made the decision to hold the ceremony indoors, a move that speaks to both the logistical challenges posed by such weather and the symbolic nature of an inauguration. This event, typically a grand outdoor affair, now takes on a more intimate setting, reflecting the ongoing challenges facing the former president as he reclaims his position in the political spotlight. Amidst these political shifts, The Washington Post is undergoing its own transformation in response to the changing media landscape. Recently, the publication introduced a new mission statement, riveting storytelling for all of America. This shift is emblematic of the Post's attempt to broaden its appeal and refocus its narrative beyond the intense political scrutiny it has faced in recent years. The previous slogan, "Democracy Dies in Darkness," underscored its role as a watchdog during tumultuous political times. However, as the Post prepares for another Trump presidency, this new directive aims to unify its staff and engage a wider audience, emphasizing the importance of storytelling in a diverse and rapidly changing America. As these stories unfold, they reflect a confluence of political ambition, human tragedy, and media evolution. The implications of Ramaswamy's gubernatorial run could shift the dynamics in Ohio and beyond, while the plight of those drawn into the Ukraine conflict raises essential questions about global responsibility. The cold inauguration presents a unique challenge for Trump as he navigates a path back into the political fray. Lastly, The Washington Post's mission revamp signals a strategic pivot that may redefine its influence in American journalism. Looking ahead, these developments will undoubtedly shape the narrative and discourse in the coming months as stakeholders respond to an ever-evolving political and media environment. U.S. stocks experienced a robust resurgence last week, marking their best performance since the election of Donald Trump in 2016. The blue-chip S&P 500 index surged 2.9% over 5 trading days, culminating in a 1% increase on Friday. This impressive rally comes on the heels of strong earnings reports from major banks and favorable inflation data, which collectively heightened investor optimism regarding potential interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve. The week's gains were primarily driven by impressive financial results from leading banks such as J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, and Citigroup, which kicked off the U.S. earnings season with significant profit increases. According to Bloomberg, this marked the S&P 500's most substantial weekly gain since it rose 4.7% in early November 2024, when Trump's victory ignited hopes for corporate tax cuts and deregulation. Investor sentiment was further buoyed by inflation figures released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which indicated a headline annual inflation rate of 2.9% for December, up from 2.7% in November. Notably, core inflation, a figure that excludes volatile food and energy prices, unexpectedly dipped to 3.2% from 3.3%. Sentiment flipped into excited territory, remarked Mike Zigmont, co-head of trading and research at Disdom Investment Group, adding that the inflation boogeyman is no longer a worry. This easing inflationary pressure has revived hopes that the Federal Reserve will continue its cycle of interest rate reductions in the coming months. As it stands, the Fed is set for a two-day policy meeting at the end of January, and market observers are curious to see how the central bank will respond to the current economic indicators. Despite recent concerns about a potential end to the Fed's easing cycle, following strong jobs numbers, the latest inflation data has led to a more optimistic outlook. Florian Ialpo, head of macro at Lombard Odier Investment Managers, noted that the combination of lowered rate risks and improved earnings has rejuvenated investor appetite. The second half of January might see a reversal of the trends that marked its beginning, lower rates leading to higher equities, he suggested. However, not all analysts share the same optimism. Adify Urbava, a strategist at Bank of America, cautioned that while December's soft inflation numbers may lessen the chances of imminent rate hikes, resilient economic growth and strong consumer spending indicate that the Fed's cutting cycle may be coming to an end. On the bond market front, the policy-sensitive two-year Treasury yield fell from a recent high of 4.42% to 4.27%, while the 10-year yield dropped from around 4.8% to 4.61%. Typically, lower yields are associated with rising bond prices, a trend that has positive implications for equity markets. The recent gains in U.S. equities have provided a much-needed boost to investor confidence, especially after a period of uncertainty amid a global bonds sell-off that primarily originated in the U.S. With earnings season now in full swing and inflationary pressures appearing to ease, market participants are closely watching how these factors will influence the Federal Reserve's monetary policy in the months ahead. As the U.S. economy continues to navigate these complex dynamics, future developments will likely hinge on the interplay between inflation trends, corporate earnings, and Federal Reserve actions. Investors remain hopeful that the current momentum will pave the way for sustained growth in U.S. equities, but the evolving economic landscape will require continuous vigilance in the wake of the tumultuous 2024 elections. A bold and contentious call to arms is emerging from the Democratic Party. Peter Rothplatz, in a provocative piece for The Guardian, argues that Democrats must abandon the genteel politics of the Obama era and embrace a more aggressive and combative approach in the face of a Republican resurgence led by Donald Trump. With the party's traditional coalition fractured, he suggests that the time has come for Democrats to fight fire with fire, adopting a strategy that prioritizes political warfare over civility. The 2024 election results have laid bare the disintegration of the Obama coalition, prompting a reassessment of political tactics among Democrats. Rothplatz posits that the niceties of past political discourse are no longer viable. If Democrats are to have any shot at reclaiming power, so too must be the niceties and mores of the Obama era, he states. He calls for a new theory of opposition politics that embraces ruthlessness, reflecting on how Trumpism has reshaped the expectations of political engagement. Voters now expect lawmakers and surrogates to be truly vicious cultural warriors for them, he observes, highlighting recent examples of aggressive political confrontations on both sides of the aisle. The landscape of American politics has shifted dramatically, and Rothplatz notes that Democrats must adapt to these changes rather than lament them. He references recent incidents of aggressive rhetoric and behavior from members of Congress, emphasizing that this is not merely a right-wing phenomenon. The need for Democrats to respond with equal fervor is underscored by the precariousness of the Republican majority in the House of Representatives, which is poised to shrink, with Speaker Mike Johnson leading a slim majority. Rothplatz urges Democrats to leverage every opportunity to undermine Republican initiatives. He argues that this new strategy should manifest in Congress through a refusal to assist Republicans in passing legislation, especially concerning critical issues such as tax cuts and government funding. Democrats must bleed the Republican Party of its political capital at every opportunity, even if it means the American people experience some pain, he asserts. This approach, he argues, is a necessary recalibration in a political environment where past norms have been upended. Rothplatz's analysis points to a changing tide within the Republican Party itself, suggesting that internal conflicts and competing factions may weaken their hold on power. He expresses cautious optimism that the Trump administration may be more fractured than it was during his first term, with infighting and divergent policy interests among party members potentially leading to instability. In conclusion, Rothplatz's call for a more combative Democratic strategy reflects a significant shift in how the party might navigate the coming years. As political polarization intensifies, the implications of such a strategy could be profound not only for the Democratic Party, but also for the broader landscape of American politics. The question remains, will Democrats heed this call and adapt to the new rules of political engagement, or will they continue to cling to outdated norms in an era defined by relentless partisanship? The answer will shape the future of American governance and democracy itself. In a significant development for the New York Times, Rosalind Helderman has been appointed as a senior political reporter, marking a strategic enhancement to the publication's political coverage. This transition comes amidst a period of notable shifts within the organization, as it adjusts to the evolving media landscape and the heightened demand for comprehensive political analysis. Helderman, previously a prominent figure at The Washington Post, is expected to bring a wealth of experience and insight to her new role, particularly as the nation prepares for a politically charged year ahead. Helderman's appointment is seen as a crucial move for the New York Times, which has been actively revamping its editorial staff to better align with contemporary reader interests and the complexities of the current political climate. Over recent months, the Times has made headlines not only for its coverage, but also for significant personnel changes, including the exit of Pamela Paul from the opinion section. Paul's departure, part of a broader restructuring under opinion editor Kathleen Kingsbury, signals an intention to diversify perspectives within the section, a response to ongoing debates about editorial direction and the balancing of viewpoints. As Helderman steps into her new position, she faces the challenge of navigating an increasingly polarized political environment. The recent approval of a ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas has drawn international attention, illustrating the urgency for nuanced reporting. The ceasefire, which was approved by Israel's Security Cabinet, is poised to bring a temporary halt to hostilities, allowing for the release of hostages and facilitating humanitarian aid into Gaza. This critical moment underscores the need for journalistic rigor in covering complex global issues, a hallmark of Helderman's past work. The ceasefire agreement, if finalized, would initiate a 6-week pause in fighting, during which 33 hostages are expected to be released alongside hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. The implications of this deal extend beyond immediate humanitarian concerns, potentially shifting the dynamics of power within the region and affecting long-term peace negotiations. As fighting continues with Israeli strikes reportedly resulting in civilian casualties, the pathway towards lasting peace remains fraught with challenges. Helderman's experience in political reporting will be vital as the New York Times continues to delve into such intricate stories. The recent collaboration between President Biden and President-elect Trump aimed at accelerating hostage negotiations prior to the latter's inauguration exemplifies the unpredictable nature of political alliances and the necessity for adept reporting. The changing media landscape demands that outlets like the New York Times not only adapt in terms of personnel, but also in their approach to storytelling and audience engagement. As the publication gears up for a politically intense year, Helderman's insights and investigative skills will likely play a pivotal role in shaping the narrative around key political events. In conclusion, as the New York Times navigates these transitions, the impact of Helderman's appointment along with other shifts within the organization will be closely monitored. The challenges ahead are significant, yet they also present an opportunity for the Times to reinforce its commitment to delivering thorough and balanced reporting on the pressing issues of our time. With the political landscape continually evolving, the role of journalism in informing public discourse becomes ever more critical, and Helderman's contribution is anticipated to be instrumental in this endeavor.